senior in other words, using those technical words. That is the difference because of the tenor, because of the relationship. So, so far as tenor is concerned, the difference in the language will be only the difference in degree of being formal or informal, or that is more formal or less formal. Now we move to domain. Domain. Domain means field. So, for what field, for what topic, for what subject we are using the language is the domain of the language in simple terms. So, domain means fields, or here subject of communication. A particular lexis is used according to the subject of conversation. If we are talking about cricket, we will use words related to cricket. If we are talking about hospital, we will use words. Some of the words will be particular to hospital. If you remember the exercises you must have done in your examinations, that certain words are given: shop, shopkeeper, shouting, banana, potatoes, customers, then immediately we can understand that here we are to write a paragraph about a market scene. Why? Because we recognize the domain because of the words given there. So we can say domain has to do with how language varies according to the activity in the field. In other words, language varies according to the function it is fulfilling in communication. Language can be used to convey information or feelings, or to maintain contact, or for writing poetry, or even talking about language itself. Here I have used the classification, the words used by a linguist, Roman Jacobson. He calls these functions of language as in these terms: referential, if the language is giving us information; expressive, if it is the expression of feelings; cognitive, if it is for persuasion or for excitement, to urge someone; it is fatigue, to maintain the relations. If the language is used only to maintain the relations, then it is fatigue. It is the fatigue work of the language. Or poetic, or metalinguistic, in which we describe language in itself. So these are the various functions which language perform, and these functions are related to the field in which the language is working. So here I have taken a couple of domains, a couple of fields in which language does one of these or more of these works. For example, journalism. In journalism, the language does these works. It is referential, means it gives information. It is expressive because it may be related to some emotional report, some emotional stories. And it is descriptive, it describes the situation. It may be formal or informal. If it is a political news, the language will be formal. If it's just like some entertainment, like the celebrities, Bollywood celebrities, like some gossip corners, then the language will be informal. So even in journalism, we may find the difference uh, because of the nature of addressee, whom the topic, whom the piece is addressed to. If we look at the language used in advertisement, it will be cognitive. Cognitive, it will be like persuasion. It will persuade us to do something. It will be expressive and to some extent poetic. It will look like a language of literature. Then it will be expressive. It will express something. expressive, full of feelings. It will appeal to our feelings. It will be emotional, and it will be cognitive. The way of presentation of the language will be to encourage us to follow what is said in the advertisement, and it will be informal. There will be not much formality in language of an advertisement. So if a piece is given to us in an examination which have a taste of advertisement, you will find these type of works done by the language. If it is about a news item, then you will find the points which are included in our topic journalism. Then religious discourse. If the thing before us is about religion, it will be expressive, it will be cognitive, and it will be formal. The language of advertisement will not be so much formal, but the language in the religious discourse will be so much formal, very much formal. The degree of formality will be more, and it will be more poetic, though it will not be a poetry, but it will be poetic. Then if the domain is from law, then the language of a law piece, a legal piece, will be referential, totally referential, full of information. Cognitive. If it is a law that is to be followed by others, then it will be cognitive. And it will be metalinguistic. Metalinguistic means it will use its own technical terms. The legal terms will be used in the legal discourse, and it will always be formal. If the piece is related to literature, the domain in which the language is used is literary, then it will be poetic, it will be expressive, it will be formal. In conversation, if we are doing a general conversation, social conversation, friendly conversation, in a get together, then in conversation our language first of all will be phatic. Phatic means we will use certain type of words which are only to start the talk, or which are only to maintain the relationship, as hello, hi, good morning, how do you do. We can start talking without these words. Without these words, you may take my name, and then we can start our talk. I can say students, and we can start our talk. But remember, I say hello students, good morning students, welcome students. These are the phatic. These words, they help language in doing the phatic work. Then conversation will be referential. Referential means it will give us some information. It will be expressive, it will appeal to our emotions also, and it may be cognitive. Let's do that, let's not do that. It will be in that type of manner also, and it may be formal or informal. If the tenor is formal, my language will be formal. If tenor is informal, my language will be informal, even in the domain of social conversation, person to person conversation. So, these are the functions of language which language does in various domains, or we can say every language does all these functions. They are more or less according to the domain. Even in our simple conversation, in our friendly talk, may have some referential qualities in it. It may be informative about something. Even in the domain of law, there may be something expressive, means there may be some appeals to our emotions and feelings. So there is no clear demarcation that these functions of language are related to a particular domain and they do not interfere in other domain. It is just for our ready reference. If we are given a passage in our examination, we are to feel the taste using these works or using these styles of language to decide which domain may be proper to that given thing. In general, we can say that language used in a given type of activity as a dominant communicative function, and this decides the domain of language. Like the varieties of tenor or mode, the varieties of domain do not have clear cut distinctions. The quality of written language may be applied to some degree to spoken language. The work proper to spoken language may be done even by the spoken language. Tenor, formality, informality may overlap each other. Similarly, the functions of language according to domain may also overlap. So there is no clear cut distinctions. There may be more than one domain with no clear separation between them, or we can say that it has qualities of more than one domain. So these are the differences according to tenor and domain. In our discourse analysis, if we are given a piece that is not of literatures, if we decide that the given piece is a literary discourse, then we will analyze it according to our analysis of literary discourse, focusing about the use of figures of speech. Otherwise, we will have to decide to which domain the given piece is related to, and what is the formality, degree of formality in the given piece, so that we may decide about the tenor. So with this information, we can do our discourse analysis question, and we can analyze any given discourse to point out the tenor, domain, or whether it is related to literature. So thank you, students. Thank you very much. Stay safe and goodbye.